All right, let's talk Chicago Bears here for a little bit. This is Bears franchise as we head into the offseason, head into the draft process, has a lot of key moves in front of them that they're going to have to nail down to do a really good job improving this roster. And there's an interesting prediction from a great source that I think Bears fans will really appreciate of a really smart move the Bears could make. But before I get into that, Bears fans, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below, like I always ask. Let me know who you think the quintessential Chicago Bear is. Give me the name of the guy, who, whether he's a current Bear player, a coach, an executive, owner, whoever it may be, that you think is the most important member of this organization, a guy who, as long as he's with the Bears, you have optimism for the future. Let me know who that guy is in the comment section below. All right, so as we head into the offseason, the Chicago Bears obviously are focused on the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Look, I understand they have a lot of cap space. Free agency's right around the corner. But anytime you have the first pick in the draft, that's where the majority of your attention is going to be focused, and rightly so. That's the most coveted position. Even though the way to get there isn't coveted, when you get in that position, that's the most coveted position to be in the entire NFL offseason for a number of reasons, obviously. You get the best player. You have the best position to get the best player. But the Bears, of course, they're in kind of a good position, but they have their quarterback. They're looking to trade back, as has been reported ad nauseum. And there's a key prediction that has come out from none other than NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah, who's a really smart guy. He's been around the block, has a lot of great sources, is experienced. Highly recommend you listen or follow him. He has a lot of great insights, does things the right way, really smart guy. And he had a key prediction of what the Chicago Bears will do at the number 1 overall draft pick. And he thinks the best platform for him, the best way to success, is to trade from 1 to 9 to the Carolina Panthers. Even though they'd lose out on Jalen Carter and Will Anderson, 2 top defensive players, Jeremiah feels that is the best path forward for them to get the massive draft haul that I know a lot of Bears fans are really hoping they're getting. So this is what Daniel Jeremiah said here. He said, quote, look, it would be hard to trade away from those top defensive players because I think they're really, really good. But if you could just get the sheer haul of picks that could serve you well into the future, I think I would go that route and probably would switch from the defensive side to the offensive side with the first pick that they would be going after there. So again, the pick they would get after moving down to 9, they'd go offensive. That's what Jeremiah recommends. If they traded all the way down to 9, I would think they'd probably be trading themselves into their choice, dealer's choice of offensive lineman at that point in time. I think that's a great mindset to have there, because one of the things you have to understand, Bear fans, and I'm going to quash one hope that I'm sure a lot of you guys have, is that there have been some speculation the Bears could trade, say, 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 2, and then trade back again. That's not going to work out for you. You're not going to double dip there and get another haul. Here's why. The moment you trade to 2 and someone goes up to 1 and gets a quarterback, suddenly at that position, the number 2 or number 5 or whatever pick you traded back the first time becomes a lot less valuable because there's less options to go. Like I said, at the number 1 overall pick, you can get whoever you want, whatever quarterback you want, whoever you think is the best guy, all the options out in front of you, whether it's CJ Stroud, Will Levis, or Bryce Young, right? But if you trade back to number 2, even if you just swap with the Houston Texans, the Texans get a guy, suddenly the 3 options at quarterback become 2. And that pick becomes a lot less valuable. That's just the way it works, right? Think of it how like venture capital, Silicon Valley, that kind of thing. You always hear about these startups. They raise, they're going out trying to raise money. They get 50 people throwing money at them because they just wrote some software that could do a million things. You fast forward 2 years and suddenly it's like an HR processing software. Great business, making a lot of money. Suddenly no one wants to invest because, right, they've been siloed. They've been forced in a direction. It could be a good direction. It could be a good business move, but it's no longer exciting for potential bidders because they're just, they're kind of focused in one direction. All the options, all the lanes they could have taken have gone away. That's the exact same effect here that any team does when they trade back, especially from the number 1 pick, whether it's to 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be. That trade back, once you're at that pick, goes a lot less valuable because there's not as many options available to teams that would trade up to that pick. So again, you're only going to be forced, now looking at that scenario, the Bears can only go down once, can only trade back once. And I think the most haul you would get would be from 1 to 9, and because the Carolina Panthers, and I think Daniel Jeremiah has a great point here, are one of the few teams that would be willing to move all the way up, right? Because at number 9, if the Panthers want a quarterback, and they've been rumored to CJ Stroud, their quarterbacks coach McCown really loves CJ Stroud. Frank Reich, obviously a quarterback guy, he likes CJ Stroud as well. I think they'd be wanting to move up to 1 to get him, just to make sure they get him, because they know he won't be available at 5, 6, 7 and only move up 3 or 4 picks, right? Because if you're say the Colts, you could sit there and say, well, we'll sit here at number 5, we'll see how it shakes out. Obviously, the Texans will have a lot of opportunities. Even the Raiders at number 7 could see, maybe the number 3 quarterback will fall to us. There is no chance that CJ Stroud falls to the Panthers at 9. In fact, he probably doesn't fall past 5. The Panthers understand this and know this. So in order to get their guy, they would have to move all the way up to number 1, and they would be willing to pay a lot to do it because that's a big jump. Jeremiah theorized that the Chicago Bears could get 3 first-round draft picks, the number 9 overall pick, and the first-round pick from the Panthers for each of the next 2 seasons, and then throw in maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick, sweetener, that kind of thing. That is the kind of haul, if you're a Bears fan, you would expect to get and be excited to get. And that's why I think what Daniel Jeremiah here says, his prediction of what the Bears could do, is right on the money of a really smart move. Because I'm going to be honest, originally I was like, listen, I don't know if the Bears are going to get a lot. I mean, the Texans may give up a second-round pick to move from 2 to 1. The Colts may give up 1 first-round pick, an additional first-round pick to move 5 to 1. But I'm really going to get a huge haul. I just don't see it happening. This is the one way to do it, because if you leapfrog, or allow the Panthers, I should say, to leapfrog the Raiders, to leapfrog the Texans, to leapfrog the Colts, to get their guy at quarterback at 1, they'd be willing to pay up a lot to do it. So to me, looking at what Jeremiah predicted and analyzed here is the clearest path forward for the Chicago Bears to get the massive draft haul I know a lot of Bears fans have been really hoping for.